I'm your host, Sharada Devi, of the Born to Be Free podcast that serves as a bridge between the ancient and the new era, a confluence of opposites where all is seen as sacred and every experience is meant to catapult you into your supreme destiny. Welcome to the Born to Be Free podcast. I'm Sharada Devi, your host, and we're here for another episode with a returning guest, a returning goddess, witch, love birth, known as orgasmic birthing, advocate, mother of, sexy mother, I want to say, and wise mother. Some people would maybe think sexy and wise doesn't go together, but this is the proof. It goes together. Sexy wise mother of three amazing children, Bhumi, Rama, and Vayu. So even the names of these three children are so beautiful to talk about. We could talk a whole podcast about Bhumi and Rama and Vayu and who they are in the Vedic mythology. So maybe you want to share a little bit, because Lovisa Dahl, married to her beautiful husband and dear brother of mine, Pelle, who has the same birthday like me, October 1st, is returning. She's already been on the podcast some time ago, where we have talked about her journey in my Diamond Mentorship program, about how we met, our love for Vedanta and sexuality, orgasmic birthing. We have so much in common, and I invited her back for different reasons that we're so excited to share with you, because she had or has had quite a journey. Not only after the diamond, because after that mentorship some things happened that she's going to share with you, and also of course her life as a mother, moving to Spain, which is a huge decision, like to uproot from Sweden and taking a whole family and a whole life to a new country, a new place, new language. So there's so much to share, and also we're going to be talking about the upcoming Muse, the Golden Womb, my trauma-informed sacred sexuality Devi coaching certification that's going to start in fall after our 9 nights of the Goddess Navaratri online festival. So welcome, Louisa. I'm so happy you're back. You're radiant in your beautiful mansion in
Oh,
and welcome back. And maybe we just a moment to talk about Bhumi and Ram and Vayu and who they are. I don't know if we talked about that in the last episode. I don't think so, but
no, we didn't. Thank you for having me again also. I'm so happy to be here. And yes, I can't wait to speak about also what happened after the diamond, because really what a womb of magic that was. But we'll get to that. Yes. Well, Bhumi is our firstborn. That's the goddess of the earth. Yeah, so she's really like the mother of this earth, like the nurturer, the infinite patience, everything, like really all of the qualities that we as mothers want to have ourselves. So sometimes I think it's interesting that I chose that name for her. It was very clear that her name was Bhumi, and I think I'm learning also how to be that patient mother, how to be that nurturing mother through her. Yeah, and then Rama comes when everything is upside down, when everything is hell, basically. Rama comes and he is like the great savior, so he's the rightful one. He's the one who knows Dharma. He is Dharma, and it's really beautiful. I really see those qualities in him as well. And I was having the name Rama is such, like in India, it's a very, very common name. So I got that name. I felt that name in me, and then actually it was when Swami Vagishananda, when he was in our house in Sweden, he was visiting, and I had this feeling. I was pregnant, and I had this feeling that I think it's Rama. And then I felt like, oh, but I can't name him Rama. Everyone names him Rama in India, and it's a very common name, and it's also such a huge name. Like, how can I do? And Pelle, my partner, he said, it's like naming someone Jesus, Louisa. And then I asked Swamiji, what do you think about Rama? And he was like, Rama. Yeah, I like it. So then I felt I was like, okay, I can go through with it. And Vayu it's the Lord of the Wind or Lord of Air, which is also connected to the heart. So yeah, so I don't know exactly why we chose Vayu. It just also came. It came one day when I was at the lake, and I was just praying and I was chanting. I started there was this wind coming, and I started to chant to the wind, and then I just felt like, oh, it's Lord of the Wind.
And he's big already. He's here.
He's almost 20 months. He's
Almost 20 months. Yeah.
running and climbing, and
Yeah.
he's so adorable. He's so sweet, so smart, very intelligent. So
Yeah, I bring that up because like the name is most precious, and in the Western culture, we do not really have a value. Can never generalize. I know some Western people do have a value for really choosing a specific name with specific meanings, but it's not so common, I dare to say. Whereas in the Eastern culture or Indian culture, Vedic culture, also other traditional spiritual cultures, the name is essential. There's so much actually effort and thought and care put into choosing a name. The Vedic traditional India, often parents even look at the Vedic astrology to see which syllables are most auspicious to have in the name. And so, and I see like why is that so important? Because like it's the name that's going to be with us the rest of our life, and it's through that name we get to the named, we get to the meaning, and so then it becomes an alambanam, like an adoration and a symbol for the being to remember who and what they are and what kind of qualities they can cultivate, and qualities that are conducive for spiritual growth. Because for a Vedic person or any spiritual person, the purpose in life is to grow, really. Like that's why this podcast is called Born to be Free, ultimately to discover that we are free, whole, and complete beings. And we do not know that. And we make all kinds of judgments upon ourselves. So there are all these countless conducive qualities that help us discover this fact that we are whole and complete and free. And so then these sacred characters or gods and goddesses, also, by the way, like Indian people or Vedic people are not worshipping idols. They're not childish and playing with dolls in an adult life and and are worshipping idols. No, because I know that that's what is being taught in certain schools. They're they're worshipping the sacredness of life, the existence, the being, that one non-dual being that manifests in and through all forms and all manifestations. So if that's through a tree or a sun or the moon, all forms are fit to be worshipped, are fit to be admired, to be praised. And so in the Vedic culture, any form can be worshipped, even a stone. And then you don't just worship the stone, you superimpose consciously meaning onto that stone, and then that stone becomes the cause of the whole universe. What does that even mean? A big understanding or a big inquiry to understand what is the cause of the whole universe. We're always looking for a cause, like who is the creator? What is the creatrix? Is there a creatrix? Like that's the big question. Is it a big question? So obvious. How can there not be? Actually, it's not really a question. It's like, isn't this proof enough that we can see and be here together and speak and share? And yet people doubt, because sometimes things don't turn out the way we expected in life, and then we think we are cursed and punished, and God is mean and bad. And so these are all beliefs that are there. And so when we talk about Bhumi and goddess of earth and Mother Nature, it's a very different understanding of God or goddess. And so here Rama and an embodiment of Dharma, and there's so many stories about each of these gods and goddesses, countless stories, healthy mythological stories, so that a human has a healthy hero, heroine to look up to. Through these stories, we can learn about values, what is really valuable in life. That's really the big question, what is really, really ultimately valuable in life. And so these heroes, they remind one. And so how blessed to have children, Bhumi and Ram and Vayu, and then have the whole life to contemplate and actually inquire into their own name. Like their own name is indicating who they are. Like, I am the goddess earth, like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
I am Dharma, I am values, I am integrity. Yes, you are. Like, that's the truth ultimately. And when we don't feel like it, then because of ignorance and wrong judgments and conclusions, then we have this name to get reminded of who we truly are. And that's how I also got my name. Sharada was given by my teacher, my revered teacher, Swami Vagishananda, many, many years ago. My birth name is Jenny, and I revere this name also very much. It's the name given by my parents, and of course I honor that name, and I would never ask my parents to call me Sharada. But what it has done to me to have a name that reminds me of the qualities that I want to cultivate in my life, like knowledge, like to have an inquiring mind and not be afraid of ignorance, not be afraid to admit ignorance, like Sharada is the goddess of knowledge, and to have a value to learn and to grow. The inner meaning, Shri, the dhatu, the word, the root, Shri, is to destroy, like, and not destroy out of malice or hate, but to destroy that which is untrue and that which is not real. And Shanti, Dhanam, she who gives peace. So every time I'm not in peace, I feel like cut someone's head off, I remember I'm Sharada. Even though I'm Kali as well, Kali, the goddess who does cut heads off. So we even have a goddess that cuts heads off. Like, wow, what a culture is that? But that's not literally meant. Of course, she doesn't cut literally heads off, but metaphor. So let's go. There's so much that we could talk about. Maybe another time. Continue, but so let's dive into what happened. Tell us, after being in the Diamond, where we were together for 6 months and working on the triangle, on the sacred triangle, if you remember.
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, sex, money, power.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, it was such a, as I said, like a womb of magic. We were doing this really, really deep work, and also I shared on the last podcast episode that I was working through a lot of shame, shame around sharing about my orgasmic births, and so that was part of it. But then we also
Maybe
had
just talk quickly, a little bit more for those that are watching this or listening to this for the first time and haven't listened about what is orgasmic birthing. And
yes, okay. So well, orgasmic birth is from the beginning a term that came from Deborah Pascale Bonaro, who she did a documentary about orgasmic birth, where like the definition of orgasmic birth is quite broad. It doesn't have to, we think it has to mean that we have physical orgasm during labor. And yes, that can happen, and that has happened to me as well. But it can also be like more of an ecstatic experience. anything. And I've actually come to speak more about love birth,
Mm.
because I find that orgasmic birth is a little bit like, it can be triggering, and it can also, sometimes we also start focusing on a result, and we cannot know the result, but we can do what we can to prepare ourselves to have the experience we desire. But then the fruit that comes is what, like, we cannot foresee exactly how that is going to be.
Yeah.
And also, if we think of orgasm from the context of lovemaking with oneself or with a partner, it can look in very different ways, right? So yes, it can be like it can be waves in the whole body, or it can be like more of an ecstatic experience, an experience of being one with all. Like, orgasm is quite a broad concept, but normally when we think about it, we think about like a peak release. Yeah, so it can get a little bit confusing in that sense. But yeah, so, and I came into speaking about orgasmic births because I had 2 orgasmic births myself. First, more of an ecstatic one, and then more of a very physical, with physical orgasms. And I felt like I cannot have had these experiences and not speak about them openly. Also because we live in a world where birth has become so medicalized, and so often we hear that that women were saved by the hospitals, when in reality maybe the setup was not the best from the beginning. So maybe that saving was not even, it didn't even have to happen if we would have been given the possibility to give birth in an environment that was truly supportive. Yeah, I mean, I can go more into what that is also, but yeah, so that is an orgasmic birth, a positive or a love birth. I like love birth because it's like at the core, that's the core of it. We need to feel safe, held, loved, and we want the oxytocin to flow freely, which is the love hormone. And we can bring in pleasure as a tool to have a smoother birth experience. And then it's not so much about whether we experience physical orgasm or not in labor, but also keeping it open that can happen. And it's not strange at all when it does, because the baby is literally touching on the G zone, on the, like, the cervix. The cervix is opening, all of these areas, and the clitoris is all around there. So it's like the baby is really being embraced by all these orgasmic areas. So it's no wonder that we can have orgasm. Yeah, especially if we are really connected to our yoni when we give birth, which is a big and important thing.
Yeah.
And forgotten thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and not only is that, if when the baby comes in God's grace through the sacred canal and through the cervix, if it's a vaginal birth, but one also has hands, right? And has partner, and that can actually stimulate the sacred erogenous zones, which we forget. And so yeah, we'll talk about that in the episode. So we'll post that in the description for those that want to go back and actually really get a descriptive story of your birth, because in the last episode you were so gracious and shared in quite detail how how it was and what you actually did, and also what your partner did, and you didn't only do that in the episode, but watch in the, we're gonna go there now.
Yeah, yeah, that's, and I think that I really believe it was like the grace of the diamond, because, well, we had this, I think it was our first home play assignment where we were going to write down 111 things that we wanted to experience during that year.
Or in a lifetime. It was more like,
okay, I took it for a year.
Or was it for a year? I don't remember right now, but maybe there's, it could be actually,
Well, anyway, if it didn't happen, then we just postpone it, right?
Yeah,
to
exactly. The 111 list, the 111 list. That's, exactly.
Again, like, we cannot know the exact fruit. We can just put in our sankalpa, or our desires, our what we desire to happen, and then the fruit will come as it comes. But so one of the things that I wrote on that list was, and I remember that I was hesitant when I wrote it down, because I felt I had this feeling like, but who am I? And but I wrote down that I wanted to do a TEDx talk on orgasmic birth. And the seed had been planted before, because my husband, I had told him about this idea, this, I don't know, this maybe vision of the future, who knows, but this idea, and he was like, yes, of course. So he actually sent to the TEDx Gothenburg team, he sent like a description of like what I'm doing, how I'm helping women in birth, and we didn't hear anything back. And this was before the diamond. And then all of a sudden, in the summer, I get an email saying, we are so happy that you're coming to audition for TEDx Gothenburg tomorrow. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, what audition? I didn't hear about any audition. And it was out of grace. I was in our summer house, which is like an hour and a half drive from Gothenburg. And so I was like, yeah, but I can't. I wrote that on my 111 things list, and now it just shows up like out of the blue, because they had not asked me to audition, or I had not received any emails before that. So I went down to the beach and I prepared my speech in 1 hour. But of course I knew what I wanted to say, so it was more of like getting it down. And then that night and the morning in the car, I was driving, having the kids in the back seat. And I was just like going over and over it again and again, this speech. And then I did it, and a few weeks later, they came back and they said, yes, we would love you to come to the main event, which was in just a couple of weeks. So again, it was like, oh, okay, like, because most of the times also you get maybe up until a year to prepare your speech. So they are very thorough, and you work together with a speaking coach, but there was like just not time, but they were like, no, you're ready, we feel it, you go, like you. I was like, okay. So I flew over to Sweden, and I went up on the stage and I did my TED talk, and it was the best thing about that experience is that they put me last, which I was so happy about, because when we came out of that event in the mingle, what everyone was talking about was birth, because that was what was on everyone's mind. So I was very happy about that, because then I really felt like the waves, the waves of it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
yeah. And then actually also in the same time, and it was not connected to the TED Talk at all, a journalist, a British journalist, found my Instagram,
Mm.
again out of grace or
Mm.
out of who knows. And she wanted to do an article with
Mm.
me about orgasmic birth. So we did that article, which was read by, more than 1 million people, and yeah, I kind of like went into this. I said in the diamond that I feel like I'm going to speak to
Mm.
millions of people, and
Mhm.
I couldn't really. Sometimes we have these
Mm.
visions or these feelings, and
Mm.
it doesn't really make logical sense. Like
Mm.
why millions? But I had that feeling.
Mm.
So the article came out, and it was for, they have more than 1 million
Mm.
readers.
Mm.
And then from that, this morning show, which is the biggest TV show in
Mm.
the UK, they heard about it. So they invited me. They actually flew me over to London to sit on the couch and speak about orgasmic birth. And I was like, wow, is this really happening? Like, this is so taboo. There is so much shame in speaking about this. It's not coffee talk.
Yeah.
And here I am invited to
Mm.
mainstream TV
Yeah.
to speak about this. And I feel that is huge.
It's
It's
huge.
huge, and it's so needed.
Mm.
And again, they have again, 1 million
Yeah.
viewers.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
all of it is absolutely amazing. I watched them. I watched the TED Talk. I watched the interview in the TV. I didn't read the article, so please, we will post all the links to all those resources in the description so you can all go and watch it. I had sent it to many people and I want you to all watch it. You were amazing. Like I want to say that, like from woman to woman
Oh.
and sister to sister and being to being, like the way you nailed this, I was like so motherfucking proud of you. I like, yes. Because let's go into that a little bit. I mean, let's tell just a little bit here in the episode in the podcast and like like you spoke literally in detail about what to
Yes.
do and how to do and touching the clitoris and you were standing up there just radiant, Durga, goddess-like. Durga is the goddess of power and strength, the great mother, warrior goddess, and you were there and shining and radiant, and also on the TV. And when I watched the people's face, I mean, in the TED Talk, you can't really see us a little bit, but mainly in the interviewer, the ones that were sitting next to you, they were
Yeah.
just like so joyous, hilarious, sweet. You could see, like, you watch their faces, their eyes, and you can see something is happening inside. And then when you start to understand the nervous system and how people sometimes fawn or freeze, you can see there's a little bit of like fawn and freezing mode, but then like one is trained to be present and to listen and to not and then also like to answer in a way because you need to answer as a moderator. And it was really like incredible. I loved it so much and I was just celebrating and I felt it in my womb and yeah,
Yeah.
just orgasmically through this whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Actually, one of the hosts, I haven't shared this before,
Yeah,
but I'll do it. I mean, all with all my love, I'm
yeah,
sharing this. But one of the male host,
yeah,
he actually, after when the camera was off,
yeah.
he asked me, "So does your children know what you work with?"
Uh-huh.
And he said that in a way of like disgust.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's and it's really interesting, like that. It's so, um, yeah, like it would be. I don't know how to put this.
Mm.
I mean, of course, that comes from a place of like not being able to embrace this idea that it would be something shameful, something nasty, something not not okay, and
Mm.
that my children would know what my profession would. It was a little bit like I was a prostitute, or something like that. That was the feeling, and
Mm.
it. I find it interesting. It's
Mm.
because that's exactly the reason why I
Yeah,
need to speak about it.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
yeah, but
exactly.
bless his heart. I mean, I know that,
Yeah,
yeah, it's we all come from where we come from, and we have the ideas we have.
yeah,
But but
yeah.
I was also prepared to maybe get that on camera,
Right.
because I mean, it could also have happened.
Yeah,
Um, but
absolutely.
I think they treated the subject really well in
Mm.
the interview.
Mm.
So
Mm. Yeah, I also read some of the comments of the people, and they were nasty. Yeah,
yes,
very
yes,
nasty.
so
And
nasty.
yeah, it's the reality of it that
Yeah, and
so.
also like going back to the diamond, and to
Mm.
when we choose to step into this
Yeah,
kind of like really really powerful work, when we totally break barriers for ourselves, and
yeah.
we step into our power. And this was what I wanted. Like, I knew that I have to be in the diamond, because I had this really strong sense
I
that,
have goosebumps now.
yeah, me too, all over. But I knew that I have to be here, because I am breaking through these barriers. And when we feel that, like, I don't know when you're going to run the diamond again, but like, when 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 you feel that, like, I'm ready, I'm going to break through this now, then you just go, you just go, you just do it. And it comes with fear as well, because we also know that, yes, the doors will open, but the doors also open to the shadow side. So both things will be there, and that's why we are afraid to break those barriers. But also, like, my whole life I choose love. I have to choose love. I want to choose love in every situation, not fear. And just, we are here to grow and to expand. And whenever there is a limiting, like, conditioning thing put on me, I'm like, I want to break it. uh,
Born to be free.
Born to be free.
Freedom.
Yes, yes. Oh,
No, and that's exactly to point out. Thank you for pointing it out. Like sometimes it can seem that okay, you're joining a diamond program or any other program to grow and expand, and it all seems like glittery and just juicy and sparkly. Yes, it has that, and then there's the other side where we go so deep into the dungeon, like where we really go there into the darkness of our deepest fear, and remembering the witch wound and how we burned at the stake and how we were ostracized from the community. I mean, the whole, it's basically, it's a reclamation of our being, our dignity, our sexuality, our pleasure, our power. It's it's hard as fuck.
yes.
Really.
Like you say, it's not for the faint-hearted.
It's not for the faint-hearted,
Yeah.
very hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think also, like, the
And rewarding as fuck. Like
yes.
it's
Yeah.
both. That's the thing. Like it's the opposites. You have the light, the more the light, the deeper the shadow, or the
Yeah.
darkness. It's both. So to go out there and speak on that stage, and like you said, I was ready for this to also come. I knew
Yeah.
that this could come, and you prepared yourself in that way. Like, okay, if that's gonna come, that's not directed to you, or it's not personal, it's not going against you. That's the belief and judgments and fears. It's really the revelation of the fear that is there in our society.
Yeah.
That which we don't know, or we fear, and then we judge it. We only judge when we're actually afraid of something. It's a protective mechanism.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I remember I haven't talked so much about it. One of my recent programs, The Nectar of You, but it was also this huge portal in that way to offer that kind of immersive experience with many very nuanced and archetypal, and using the eros as the medicine in deepest reverence, and going into the depths of our psyche, and then going into the depths of our psyche through play, and also what happened there, it's been so incredibly profound for me. And also there were so many other sides that came up from people, like then one also, yeah, you go into the depth of the psyche and you play with the eros and sexuality, all those shadows just start to surface, and one sees the pain that is there, the struggle, the pain, the shame, and when, and then there can be also strong projections, right? When there is a fear of actually meeting then those pains and things that have happened, and one is not yet ready now as a participant or so, then it can be projected outward, and all kinds of drama can suddenly happen, which happened a little bit to me there. So it was also again the opposite of like the depths and beauty of an incredible program, and also then getting to hold space for people, profound shadow of projection and judgments, and it's those both sides that we learn to hold, embrace, be with, and then not identify with either. Like it's then so easy to like, okay, now I'm this superstar. And
Exactly.
then no, just saying, oh, this is just a manifestation now for some time, temporary. Like it's a moment of like, okay, here, hi, and then can I just be with that and ride the wave?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there will be the other side again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think always like returning to the purpose.
Yeah.
Why am I sharing about this? Why am I
Absolutely.
doing this? What is it my heart wants to
Yeah.
express?
Yes.
And when we lead with that, then yeah, we become Durga Devi because and Kali, like we will slay those heads, those demons
Yes.
inside ourselves, and also the shadows that we meet that are not, that are projections, that are not ours. But we can hold them. We can
Yes.
be their mirror, and
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. That why is to always to come back to again and again and again and again. Why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
That's what is your why? Can you just tap into that right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My why is that the sacred feminine, is the reclamation of the sacred feminine. And if that sounds vague, it's every woman and man, of course, but I feel like I'm here for the women mostly, to know their worth, to know their power, to stand in their power, to be leaders, to step into the leader. I really feel like I'm here to lead leaders, and that's the, because that's the biggest impact we can have when we empower other women. We're not. I don't feel like I'm here to teach you to do this or that. I'm really here to empower you to be the leader and do the same thing, because that is the ultimate power when we come together. Yeah. And part of that is reclaiming childbirth as a rite of passage, because it is, and reclaiming it as part of our sexuality, because this has been lost, this has been forgotten. But it's quite easy actually to understand that it is part of our sexuality. Like,
It is quite easy.
yeah, it is quite easy when
It's yeah, when it's
in one way it's difficult.
yeah.
It's difficult
For
because
many
it's
people, it's very difficult. It's like,
yes.
what? Sexual?
Yeah. Medical. Did I hear you say medical? Yeah, but it's like we 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 conceive with our sexual organs. We give birth through our sexual organs. We have our clitoris that, like, I mean, it's like reachable for us, so we can stimulate her when we give birth, to have more oxytocin flowing in our body, which will help the waves, which will help us relax with our nervous system. Like, yeah, the more we look into it, it just makes sense. And then also, like, we have our sacred bleed there in our teenage usually, and then that is part of our sexuality, right? It's part of it. And then becoming pregnant, how can that not be part of our sexuality? It's the same journey. And then we will have the baby, and then we will come into menopause, which is also part of our sexuality. But we think of sexuality as like it's this shameful, sinful thing that we cannot speak about. But that's not sexuality. That's not sexual. That's really not sexuality at all. The sexuality is it's the creation. It's the it's our it's life, it's creation. It's just the energy of sexuality. Why we have a sexuality is just, it's to create, right? We are here to create life, to create offerings, whatever it is, and all of it stems from our sexuality, which is really, it's really life force. So returning to that, yeah, leading the way back to that I feel is my purpose.
Yeah. And that's also part of your story. We talked about that also in the last episode, that often we are passionate about things, or often, I cannot say often, like I think that's the when one starts to take life as it is and as it is given to us, and sees that life doesn't happen to us or against us, but for us, and see that we are here to be free and to discover who we are, and we are all having a purpose. Like, there is an individual purpose for all of us. And I know that sometimes people struggle with finding their purpose, like, what is really my purpose in life? And we can look at the purpose twofold. Like, one is the ultimate purpose that the Veda would talk about, which is moksha, freedom. That's the ultimate purpose, to discover that we are free beings. And then there's the relative purpose, like my dharma, my swadharma, really. Like, what am I here to do in this life? How can I serve in the best way? How can I make this life, this incarnation, most purposeful? How can I be a contributor and not a competitor? Like, so already that is a huge shift in attitude and understanding and way of living to become a contributor, because we are raised in a competitive society. So that shift, that metamorphosis gets to take place, where we see we are not here to, because if we are against and if we compete, we know how we end up. We end up in war and we end up alone, and nobody wants to be alone. And so what we really want is to be together, and we want harmony and peace and happiness and security and love. And we're never going to find that if we are in disharmony with each other. So becoming a contributor is essential to living a spiritual life and participate in the sacred mystery and contribute to the harmony of myself and also to all beings. And that happened when I become a contributor. So how can I contribute? What is my swadharma, my unique contribution in that sense? And we share that so deeply, like, is this offering of offering spaces for beings to return to their dignity. I always come back to the word dignity, because it's that which has been taken away or lost. We believe that we're deep down, even if you don't believe it, but believe me, like deep down somewhere in our conscious, many of us, we do believe we're a sinner, because that's what has been impregnated into our unconscious, that we are born, but not as a whole and complete being, but as there's something wrong with us. Right? And so we carry this inherent shame, and shame is always related, there's something wrong with me, like there's something fundamentally wrong with me. And so we carry that shame, and shame is always sexual shame, actually. Right? Because, like you so beautifully described, sexuality is the creation, is the creative principle. Yes, there are other principles, but it's that first and foremost, the creative principle. And we come from sex. We come from sex. We come through sex. We come into sex.
Yeah.
It's all sex, basically. Like, it's really, when you boil it down, it's all about sex, and it's not about sex at all, but it is all about sex. It's all about sex, and it's not about sex. One of my dear friends, we're often discussing this topic, a dear brother, and yeah, so that's some of our, so it's all about sex and it's not about sex at all. So, but right now, here it is. And that's where we carry this deep, deep shame. Like, there's something wrong with me, my existence is wrong. Do I even exist? I don't know if I exist. There's something wrong with my body. There's something wrong with my genitals. There's something wrong with my gender. There's something wrong, something wrong, something wrong. From down to up, there's something wrong. Like, and naturally, how can we live as sane people like that? And from this inherent feeling, I'm wrong, and carrying this shame, we have this sick society that we're living in. Like, we're living in a psychotic society. Like, look at our society. We can't connect with we can't connect with each other anymore. We have literally a global intimacy disorder, like how Dr. Mark Guffney calls it, and I really resonate with that term. It is a global intimacy disorder. We're not intimate. We're not real and truthful with ourselves anymore and with each other, and we have so difficult to connect with each other. And so from that, like, there's a lot of sickness that has occurred, and distortion, and sickness is pedophilia, and sickness is to sell children and traffic them. Sickness is to go somewhere and abuse children, your own or other children. And sickness is also to project the hate towards prostitution. Like, imagine we would not have prostitution in one way. It's like, if we look at the word prostitution, or like if we really go back down, to be a sacred sex worker was most revered. Like, look at ancient and Venus. I recommend that movie called Dangerous Beauty. That's part of our curriculum in the Muse Golden Womb program, Dangerous Beauty. Like, and if we have other Kama Sutra movie, in the ancient times we had the sacred sex workers, and they were in their power. They were like, wow, I'm here, I know my power, I know how I can heal and transform this pain again, because sexuality is healing when we know how to use it. It can transform the pain because there's pleasure. But if we don't know how to use sexuality, like anything in life, if it's food or money or our work, we abuse it and misuse it. And so also sexuality is distorted, and we've abused it and misused it. And so we both have experienced this in different ways. And you've been openly talking about your own sexual abuse in your childhood. And for me, it's been in different ways that I haven't spoken so much publicly about it because also of different reasons, wanting to protect dear people in my life. But in my programs and in school and friends, I speak openly about my own sexual traumas or sexual experiences, and that has become a purpose. Like that experience, that wounding, then we have transformed that into our medicine. And now, having learned how to heal oneself with all these incredible tools that are out there, knowledge and craniosacral therapy and plant medicine and sacred sexuality and you name it, one can come out on the other side. One can metamorphose like a butterfly, and then suddenly discover, like, wow, this experience that I've had, I can now speak about that, and I can help others to move through this experience and come out shining and discover that I'm not broken, I'm not lost, I'm not different than anyone. I'm actually just like anyone else, here able to see that it's simply all a story that we have come incarnated into this life, and we can rewrite the story. That's in our power. Like I can't literally rewrite my story. I can choose how this story, to a certain extent, shapes and shifts. I don't have complete power over how this story in this life is going to end, because there's so many forces at hand, but I have great influence, I have great power, I have a free will. And so that's where we become our own hero, our own heroine of our own myth, and can rewrite this narrative. And sexuality is a huge part in both our lives because of these experiences. And that's how I also have now offered different courses and programs. And one of them is the Muse, the Golden Womb, that is now coming up again. I've ran this program twice already, and it's been upgraded and updated in these last few years. And now again, a third round is going to come. We're starting in fall officially. We already started with the foreplay or the preparation. I like to call it the foreplay already for those that have signed up and are going to join. In the meantime, you're going to join actually the heroine's journey, which is actually the preparation for you to understand what kind of myth you grew up into or with, and how you can change your myth and learn the foundations of understanding your mind and the emotional management tools, and establishing an altar and learning how to become that contributor, because there are all essential foundational preparatory tools and work that helps so much. Then when one would dive into the Muse, the Golden Womb, the trauma-informed sacred sexuality program, you just come more prepared. Like it's like this preparation that we're going to speak now also, that you're going to go offer. That's part of your work and offering, like to help women prepare for a birth, so that it can be a love birth. It doesn't happen. It can always happen. We can always give the benefit of the doubt that one meets in 1 week, you got it because, okay, past life. But usually it takes preparation. And so to really have these kind of experiences that we all desire and want to have, or worthy of having, can have. And so in the Muse, also this program that then starts in the fall, we have this whole foreplay that you can join now. There's already an incredible group of amazing human beings. And so, and then in the autumn, we start this new 1.5 year. I'm also in the upgrading phase as I'm incorporating a new faculty and different topics and just refining this program where we dive into the dive really go to the roots to understand this global intimacy disorder that we're experiencing, this sense of disempowerment, this sense of alienation, this sense of powerlessness. Where does that all come from? Like, because all of that doesn't come from you, my dear one, or me. Like it could feel like, wow, I'm so fucking broken, but you're not. Like you're part of a huge system, culturally, societally, religiously. Layers and layers and upon layers are there in your field that you're experiencing that contribute and a reason to why you're feeling the way you feel. And you can actually literally through this program dismantle that and clear your field and come back to your dignity, to your sovereign wholeness, to your radiance, to your power, to your pleasure, to your wealth of your own being. Like it's literally the discovery of the sanctuary of your own being. And I so look forward to begin this program end of the year after our beloved Navaratri, 9 nights of the Goddess Festival, which will be a wonderful way to come together for 9 nights, pray to Goddess Durga, the goddess of strength and the goddess of power, and Saraswati, the goddess of wealth, goddess of knowledge and words, and Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and pleasure, and Lalita, so that then we had 9 nights and 10 days of ceremony with other women. That's a free online festival that I've led for 5 years or more, 7 maybe, where Louisa also has taught a few times, where we come together in a very auspicious time during the year, during fall, which is a time in the Vedic calendar that is dedicated to celebrating and calling in Dharma, the resurrection of values, universal values that are the royal red carpet, like our teacher likes to call it, towards freedom, towards the ultimate purpose. So in that 9 nights of 10 days, you can discover and you can ask to discover your swadharma, your personal purpose in this life here and now, but also you can ask and pray for the ultimate purpose, which is moksha and freedom. And so they all go hand in hand. And so it's a kind of a huge preparatory phase that we're in right now and have started already and preparing for. And so then to dive into the golden womb and return to sacred, basically. So I'd love for you to like now, as we're slowly wrapping up, add a little bit here your contribution to the Muse and the golden womb, what we've been discussing about this preparation also, because like you said, birth and like all other rites of passage, most of them are sexual. If you want to go through a whole rite of passage ceremony, I have the priestess initiation course. It's self-paced. I will post a link as well where we go through all these rites of passage that Louisa mentioned, plus more study and others, death ceremony as well, because it's really these rites of passage that give us also this profound sense of belonging, worthiness, and it's a preparation. Like it's all a preparation. You prepare for the next phase. You prepare for the next phase. Preparation, and then you go through the phase, and then there's integration. And so, yes, please, will you share a little bit what we've been discussing in your contribution?
I just want to say also that I think it's so beautiful that the Muse and also with the preparatory work of Heroine's Journey and also Navaratri, it's so like it all together. It's such a beautiful journey because it's like this type of work or play. it takes time. There are so many layers to unravel. There is so much to dive into. So it's not an overnight thing. And often in our society, we want the quick fixes. We want like, give me the recipe so I can, but it's a choice of walking a path. I think that's so beautiful how you set it up. It's really like it really gives this time and this space, this womb, for a rebirth, for understanding the purpose, for stepping into it, and for unraveling all that is, all the constructs and everything that is in the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm so happy to be part of this. It feels so, yeah, so beautiful. And I will be sharing about orgasmic birth, but also because the thing is, like, how I prepared for my own orgasmic births, which has become a method that I call the love birth method, and it builds on 5 different pillars. So I will share, and I will dive more into depth with all of these pillars and how we can use them. But the thing is, it's beautiful to come into your pregnancy and start this play, this work, but you can actually do it whenever. You don't have to wait until you get pregnant at all, because it is the same. It is really a reclamation of our sexuality as sacred. That is the foundation. And also reclaiming our rest, reclaiming our ability to visualize, to see what we desire, and to call that in, to believe in that we can create our reality to a certain extent, of course. So there is more to that, but to have all of these tools available to us, not when we are pregnant, but even before. So even if you come into the Muse and you're not pregnant, or maybe you don't even plan to be pregnant, but the big there's a big chance that you will work with women who have had children, who will have children, or who are pregnant. And then you will have practical tools, how you can help them, how you can work yourself with these 5 pillars. They are embodiment, pleasure, relaxation, visualization, and surrender. And then we were also talking about, because I have a biodynamic healing training in my background, and I feel like I don't work with it in that clinical setting that I used to do, but I use the work of being, when you are with a client, when you are with another person, it's not only about what they say. That is just a little part of it. It's what you feel. It's how you perceive the whole field of the person. And this is like the untouchable. It's what in the subtle. So we were also speaking about how I can bring in that, because it's such a valuable asset to develop. And actually, we also naturally, the more we unravel ourselves, we naturally also grow into those abilities of being able to sense. So usually when a client asks me something, I'm like, I'm gonna feel into it. and it's exactly what I'm saying, like I'm feeling into it, because it's not in the thinking mind where the deepest wisdom lies. It's in that subtlety. So we'll see how we incorporate that as well. Yes, and also breaking free from the myth of birth as something that is a fearful event, something we need to fear, an emergency, something that we just have to get through. Like all of these ideas around birth that are very, very anchored in our society, to actually break free from them and see that they are not true. They don't have to be true. And also how we can navigate the system when it looks like it does. because that is also part of the truth that we give birth in a system that is not always conducive for the love birth. But the more we are prepared, the better are our chances to be able to have that. And I really feel it lies in empowerment through knowledge and embodiment. Embodiment is everything. It's when we return to the wisdom of our body, then it's so important in life and in birth, of course.
Mm. Yeah. And if you know those that are listening, watching, and feel like maybe the Muse, the Golden Womb, it's a too big program and you want to work with Lovisa, also you can contact Lovisa. We'll post all the links. She offers mentorship and support and programs, and has also self-paced courses that you can follow, and we'll post her Instagram as well. Is there anything else you would like to share before we are going to close this episode?
No, just I think I just want to say that if you're listening and you feel that tingling, that tingling, you're like, I want to go on this journey. I want to, but maybe there is also fear, then yeah, just I believe in you. You
Yeah.
can do this.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. You can. You can. And I know it because I've done it. And I often say that I think that I am proof of what we think is impossible. I am the living proof.
Yeah, you are.
And
You are.
you can. So if you feel that, that feeling, trust it, go for it.
Mm.
There is, your purpose is there.
Mm.
And it's all there.
Mm. Yeah, thank you for those words, Louisa. I really wanted to offer, yeah, you know me, I always have this very deep value to offer this incredible program that is just really it and
Yeah.
supports the journey. And as you said, like the preparation and to have time, it's just most precious to really have time. And like if you start now, you're going to be in this container for the next 2 years, and you might be like, wow, 2 years, but yes, it's years of suppression and stress and tension, and for us women to actually really experience the nectar of our being, and the possibility of these infinite constant orgasms. We do need time and timelessness and grounding and safety and containers like this, because
Yeah.
we don't just open up. The body is not going to open up through force. It's actually just going to close more and contract more. So we have time, and we have the support. Like we have women who have walked the path, like Louisa, from sexual trauma to sexual empowerment and having orgasmic birth, love birthing. And we have Disa Mineur, who just confirmed he's going to join us. So it's incredible woman,
So
like
amazing, powerhouse woman.
powerhouse, and the
Yeah.
oracle of cyclical wisdom. I mean, anything you want to know about blood, hormones, Disa.
Yes.
Wow. And we have Maka. I'm gonna have podcasts with all of them coming up. Macarena, sexual medical doctor and pleasure coach, and Vedantin also, who's gonna take you through the sexual anatomy and the anatomy of arousal, and for you to understand like this incredible body um, from the anatomy standpoint, like to know the body inside, outside, which we didn't learn again. Um, and then we have Efunyaki, who just confirmed, who is from Brazil originally, and she is a lead teacher with Peter Levine from Somatic Experiencing team. You can check that out. Peter Levine is the founder of Somatic Experiencing. So the Muse Golden Womb is a trauma-informed sacred sexuality program. Like trauma-informed means that one is understanding the trauma, the collective trauma that we're experiencing and how that manifests in our body, and that we can learn to track the nervous system. So that goes so well along with what Luisa also said, like the ability to feel, go into the felt sense and not just know, but let the body speak really. And so Efuniaki is decades of taking people through the wisdom of trauma and family constellation also, and ancestral work. And then there's going to be other teachers that are still to be confirmed. There's Elisa, who's been with me for many years. She's the queen of Ayurveda, women's health, and the witch of herbs. And so that we can take care of ourselves with the support of the goddess queendom, plant queendom, and learn different herbs and tinctures and baths and oils to nurture this body and take care of this body. And other teachers to be confirmed, and myself taking care of the sacred sexuality, taking you through the sacred elements and embodiment rituals, rewriting the sexual narrative and preparing you for sex magic, so you become the sex magic queen, basically, and priestess, along with the Vedantic knowledge of the limitless self aspect. And so it's quite a journey that we're going to be together. So, but if any of the more individual topics attract you, you still have access to all these incredible women individually and can start your journey in your way that feels right to you. So again, here then you can trust your feelings, that you may have a different path, and that's also okay, of course. But all of these women that I've mentioned now, we've gone through this path in our own way, and so we have a wide variety of different beings. And we're also going to have actually Theo offering different play shops on gender non-conformity, excuse me, my vocabulary, folks. So basically beings that do not identify with one gender, with maybe more gender, two genders, but that have the different body parts, and to learn also how to use a vocabulary and be more inclusive in our teachings, in our way of being, in our communities, and also understanding like it's not just a binary model that we're existing in. Like even the genitals have different expression of genitals, and being aware of that also, and sensitive. So we'll be speaking to that as well, and also other topics that I want to bring in, like cultural understanding and even racism, how all of this is influencing our way of life, and it's there, but it's just slowly being spoken out. And like we said, that everything comes down back to sexuality, like, and it's our identity. So when we talk about sexuality, identity, we have to talk about gender, we have to talk about skin color, we have to talk about culture, and all these different aspects are included in this topic. Actually, it's not just about penetration, which we're definitely going to be talking about as well in many ways. But there's so many angles and corners. Yeah, okay. Anything else, or shall we close here?
Yeah, I think this is the most amazing program. I was like, wow. I mean, wow. Wow. It's bringing so much together. It's so beautiful. Yeah. It could be part of the public school curriculum.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is really the education we never got.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the education we actually need to grow up with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and how, like, when society looks in a way, we have to navigate it, and we have to, like, go our own path and get that knowledge, get that education
Yeah.
in our own ways, when we are not as a collective getting it and
Yeah.
find our path.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I'm so honored to be a part of this, Sharada, and it's just so beautiful. You're so inspiring in a million of ways, and also really, you really live you really live the talk. You really walk the path, and that, I mean, now I've been, I know you in so many forms, in so many ways, as a friend and as a mentor and as a teacher, and in so many ways, and uh, and it's so, yeah, it's so rare, and it's so beautiful to that you're so authentic in everything you do, and you really share from the heart, and you lead with such integrity and with such knowledge, and so it's amazing. I'm just so much gratitude. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you, dear. I receive.
Yes.
It means so much to me to receive your words and your mirroring. Thank you for seeing me and celebrating me. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yes, and so do I. I admire you so much. I'm just in awe of the woman and the mother you are, the teacher, the healer, the writer, and all these qualities that are there in you, so prolific, and also what I really love so much is this authenticity and the simplicity of your being. And yeah, that moves me so much. That rawness, the raw, authentic, no bullshit kind of. This is what I am, and you show up fully in your life as a mother. I mean, wow, like you as a mother, the way you are with the children, when I've seen you, and also Pelle, your husband, like I it brings me to tears when I see you as a family, how you treat them, how you talk to your children. Like, wow, like Mario, our dear friend Mario, when he came to visit you, he's just, who is Luisa? Like, I know. Like, what a mother. Like, he's like, I want all children to have her as a mother. I'm like, yes, I know, me too. He was so taken when he saw the way you were with your children. It's yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, incredible. I think there also, like, you have so much to share, like so much knowledge, and you're so humble, and yeah, so much wisdom. It's not knowledge, it's wisdom, like embodied, lived, and experienced. That is wisdom, and that's felt in your presence. So yeah, thank you for
Thank you. Now I just drink and
it.
this could so easily turn into just a love bombing. But
Yeah.
it's also, right, it's also about this, the celebration, to celebrate another woman.
Yeah.
That is for another podcast episode, because I have I actually have a story that I haven't told you, of how we met and where I was then, and then, like, what I got to heal. But that is for another.
Okay. Next episode, sister love bomb from
Yes.
jealousy to
Yeah.
adoration.
Admiration.
Admiration. Yeah.
because
Oh my God.
that is that is it.
That is it.
And knowing you and knowing your programs, like that is also the Muse, like that it's inevitable that you will be celebrating with your entire body, your sisters, because it's part of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when we do we grow? Oh my God. Now I have truth bumps all.
Yes, yes, yes. Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yes, okay, we keep that for next episode to become to be revealed. So
Yes.
thank you so much. I love you. Älskar dig.
Älskar dig. Mm.
I love you all, listeners, watchers, sacred friends. Thank you for being part of our lives. And yeah, and please share with us in the comments how this landed, this episode for you, what touched you, your takeaways. And please share this episode with your friends, with your family. Spread the word of what is possible in life. And subscribe to the channel. And also subscribe to the newsletter. That's a wonderful way to stay in touch. And come to our programs.
So welcome.
So welcome. Until next time. Jema.
From my heart to yours, deepest gratitude for your presence. May you follow your wildest dreams, live your highest purpose, and expand into the infinite, because that's what you are.